Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are on chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute. Text 4. Bhumir apo nalo vayuho kham mano buddhir evacha ahankara iti yamme binna prakritir ashtada. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So Krishna is giving knowledge to Arjuna, and he's telling him the material world has 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. So the 5 gross elements are earth, water, fire, air, ether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 gross elements. And the subtle elements. What are the subtle elements? The mind, intelligence, and false ego. So total 3 plus 5, they are 8. And Krishna is saying they are my energies, my separated material energies. All these are material elements. The mind is a material element. The false ego is a material element. The intelligence is a material element. And so are earth, water, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Just one moment, please. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you. So Krishna is saying these are my separated material energies. The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. That's the science of God. We are hearing the science of God when we are studying Bhagavad Gita. And so it's helping us, it's telling us about the position of God. What is God's position and his energies? We say God is omnipotent. So we are trying to understand his potencies. God's potencies are everywhere. But what are the details of his potencies? This is what God is telling us. Material nature is called Prakriti, or the energy of the Lord, in his different Purusha incarnations, expansions, as described in the Narada Pancharatra. Yeah, so material nature, Prakriti. Prakriti is Krishna's separated energy, this material nature. Material nature is Krishna's separated energy. Separated energy. We see the material elements are not conscious. Earth is not conscious. Water is not conscious. Fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. These are not conscious. They're dead. They're dead, these elements. And so they are material. Material energy is not conscious. That's the difference between the material energy and we, the spirit souls. We are Krishna's spiritual energy. So as described in the Narada Pancharatra, one of the Satvata Tantras, Vishnustu Trini Rupani Purushakhyani Atho Viduhu Ekam Tu Mahatash Srashtir Dvitiyam Tva Anda Samsthitam Trityam Sarva Bhutastham Tani Gyatva Mivimachyate. For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes 3 Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as the Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading super-soul in the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these 3 Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. So here, Narad Pancharatra. Narad Pancharatra is speaking of the 3 different Purushas. Where do these Purushas come from? They are an expansion of Krishna. We have been hearing in detail about this creation, about the Purushas in Srimad Bhagavatam. How Krishna expands into Balaram, from Balaram comes the Chaturvyuha, then the Chaturvyuha comes second Chaturvyuha, then how Mahasankarshan, he's expanding into this Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is lying down on the causal ocean, and from the pores of Mahavishnu is coming out innumerable universes is coming out. Then the same Mahavishnu is entering into each and every universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He's entering into every universe as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And then this Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he enters into every atom of the universe as Shirodakasha Vishnu. Shirodakasha Vishnu. He is the Paramatma. So the Paramatma is entering into every atom of the universe, as well as he's sitting in our hearts. We are the soul, and next to us is the super soul, the Paramatma, sitting next to us. And Narad Pancharatra is saying, anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement. So we should try to understand the position of God, try to understand this position of the three Vishnus, so that we can be liberated from this material world. How they are creating this material, how Mahavishnu is creating this material world. All these Shirodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Karandadaksha Vishnu, is the same Vishnu. This is Lord Vishnu, just expanding. It's the same personality, expanding to do different functions. This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. So God, he is omnipotent, means he has many, many potencies. Now, this material world is one of his potencies. It's just one of his energies, the material energy. And the manifestation of this material world is temporary. Sometimes it's manifest, sometimes it's not. The material world, sometimes it's manifest, sometimes it's not manifest. The material energy is eternal. She belongs to Krishna, so she's eternal. But the creation sometimes is manifest and sometimes not. So does it mean when there is no creation, what happens to the soul? We die, we don't exist anymore? No, we still exist. We are the eternal souls. We can never die. What dies is just the body, but the soul never dies. At that time, when the dissolution is there, we are sleeping in the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu, depending on the totality of dissolution or partial dissolution. So all this is given in great detail in Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically the second canto. So all the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally, one who does not know the science of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for the enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of the material energy. So we think, oh, this world is made for us to enjoy. Finders, keepers, whatever you find, you enjoy till you die. But that's not the reason the world is made for. According to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. So Krishna, he's the cause of all causes. So this material manifestation, how does it come about? Because of Krishna. Because of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. So this material world, this cosmic manifestation, is separated energy of the Lord. Separated energy. He does not personally associate with the material world. Even the Brahma Jyoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalness, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky. So the Brahma Jyoti is the light which is coming from Krishna's form, from the body of God. The light, Brahman, is coming from the body of God, and it's spiritual. It's completely spiritual. There are no spiritual diversities in the Brahma Jyotir as they are in the Vaikuntha Lokas. And the impersonalist accepts this Brahma Jyotir as the ultimate eternal goal. So in the Brahma Jyoti, the Jyoti is just light. There's no variety in the light. But in this light, they're floating many gazillions of Vaikuntha planets, the spiritual planets. They're called the Vaikuntha planets. And within each and every planet, there is variety. There's variety. Variety exists in the spiritual world. That's the reason variety exists in the material world. There's trees, there's plants, there's animals, there's birds, there's beasts. There is a human form. Well, nothing is material though in the spiritual world. Everything is spiritual. The form is spiritual. Here in the material world, it is material. But variety is there in the spiritual world. The Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all-pervasive aspect of the Shirodakshayi Vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is the complete energetic person, and he possesses different, separated, and internal energies. So, Paramatma, he is here in the material world. Why? Because he's the one who's maintaining this material world. He's entered into every atom of the material world. That's the reason the atom is able to have its structure. Otherwise, there would be no structure in the atom. If it was not for the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma, if the Paramatma was not in the atom. And in the spiritual world, there is no need for the Paramatma. There's no need. Everything is spiritual there. Everything is self-sustaining. And here the Paramatma is there in our hearts to guide us. He's showing us the way. Hey, don't be here, Get out of this material world. This is not your permanent place. You belong somewhere else. And he guides us all along. And once we reach the spiritual world, there's no need for the Paramatma. Why? Because in the spiritual world, we can see God face to face. We can see the Supreme Lord face to face. And so the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. The Brahman is the light which is coming from his body, and Paramatma is his feature here in this material world. And he is the complete energetic person. We say God is omnipotent. So we have to understand what are these potencies of God? What are these different potencies they are speaking about? How is he omnipresent? How is he omnipotent? This is what we are studying. So God, he has this different, separated, and internal energies. In the material energy, the principal manifestations are 8, as above mentioned. Out of these, the first 5 manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and sky, are called the 5 gigantic creations, or the gross creations, within which the 5 sense objects are included. So they are called the Pancha Mahabhut: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, or sky. They are called the gross elements. The material world grossly is made of this. And our sense objects, we have the eyes, ears, nose, the skin, they are also included in these elements. If we break down the material world, we'll come to these elements. We see fancy things, but if we see, they're just different combination and permutation of the material elements that we are so attracted to. It's so attractive, but if we break it down, it's just these material elements. They are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. So the sense objects, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell, this is all material. Material science comprises these 10 items and nothing more. But the other 3 items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists. Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna. The false ego, I am and it is mine, which constitute the basic principle of existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities. Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahatattva. Therefore, from the 8 separated energies of the Lord are manifested the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energies and are separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes. The subject matter for discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So we have been hearing the real Sankhya philosophy by Kapila Dev. We are currently reading this Sankhya philosophy in Srimad Bhagavatam, how this material world is broken down into 24 material elements. And the 25th, then what is there after the 24 element? The 25th element is the soul, and the 26th element is the super soul, the Paramatma. So this is the reason the Sankhya philosophy, not the atheistic, there is another atheistic Sankhya philosopher who keeps God out of this material creation. But the real Sankhya philosophy that Krishna is speaking of in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, it shows if we break down this material world, it's just these 24 elements, nothing more. And then there is the soul inside it and the super soul, the Paramatma. And why we need to hear it, the more we hear it, then we will understand, oh, but then why am I attached to this material elements? What, I'm just attached to dead matter. Oh, I don't belong here. I'm the spirit soul. I belong to the spiritual world. So this is a necessary knowledge for us to know, to help us give up our attachment to the material world and get attached to Krishna, be ready to go back home, back to Godhead. Is that okay? I don't know if it's like too much for you all with this earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. But the more you all hear, the more we hear about it, the more it becomes clearer. Yeah. So if nothing, then we'll stop here. Thank you so much for listening. Auntie Rashmi, you're saying something? I can't hear though. आप कुछ बोल रहे थे? I'm not able to hear. I'm not sure if the others are able to hear.
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening in and joining in. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna. We can see how Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Caitanya, Caritamrta, there's no contradiction. Everything is there supporting everything, supporting revived love for God, and everything belongs to God. Hare Krishna.